Well, hello, and welcome to another voiced episode of Denshi Space Program, whether it be an episode or something. But in this episode, if you want to call it that, we're going to Duna, or the Mars equivalent in KSP, and we're going to be visiting Duna using the Falcon Heavy launch vehicle, almost fully reusable launch vehicle, obviously developed by SpaceX. That is, it's quite well known. It's a very iconic, but it has only really flown around 3 times. Obviously, with the first demo mission, the Arabsat mission, and then of course the U.S. Army mission that they did with all those like satellite testing things. As you can see here, the boosters themselves of the iconic Falcon Heavy are separating. And they're going to land. I'm going to pretty much reuse all the first and second stage of this launch vehicle. There is a new planned Falcon Heavy mission, if I remember well. This one paid for by NASA. That's great. I always love watching the Falcon Heavy launch. It's a great launch vehicle. It's very, very beautiful to look at, and especially the new Block 5 variants. They're very, very beautiful. As you can see there, the first actual booster I tried to land crashed. The reason for that was because I'm bad at landing stuff. Also, I didn't set up a bunch of the statistics that I needed to land. This reattempt instead is done with MechJeb, and MechJeb is much better at landing than me, so it can actually land the booster and not completely crash it into the ground, annihilating our space program and all the infrastructure we have around it. Although Kerbin is quite desolate in terms of infrastructure. So that landing was successful, but obviously, something has to go bad. It is a SpaceX landing, so the legs, the landing gear got crushed. This next section is actually, the music is by Mumor, great Pokemon remixer, and now this is obviously the second stage. The great thing about my Falcon Heavy, that's the fairing separation, is that the second stage itself is actually it's being fueled by the side boosters while you're flying in the first stage. There we see the second stage separating. We're about to land it again, and because it's being fueled, it means you basically end up with a full Falcon 9 to launch, but it's already been flinged into space. So it's a very, very capable launch vehicle. You can download this launch vehicle in the description. There's a link to my website where you can download the Falcon Heavy and Falcon 9 and everything, and use it for yourself. As you can see there, that was the re-entry with the booster. This is actually, I'll tell you already now, the landing was successful. This is the first time this was not a manual landing, this was done by MechJeb. This is the first time I actually land a Falcon Heavy core booster well since a year ago. I remember the first Falcon Heavy video I made. I think it was, I don't know if it was 2018 or 2019. I think it's down now because it got the copyright strike, or I took it down myself. But I landed the booster. I landed all 3 boosters in that one. Here we see the fast forwarding to Mars. Obviously, we gotta get that entry window if we actually want to get to Mars. I'm very responsible space program, obviously, letting my astronauts stay in the tiny little caps. Well, only one astronaut, Jeb, of course, Jebediah Kerman, the living legend, somehow able to survive literally everything known to man. Here's the burn being done, obviously, towards Duna itself. The great thing about Duna is that it's really easy to reach, and it's really easy to get away from, because the gravity well, it doesn't have a strong gravity well, which means it's a little harder to reach than something like, I don't know, Joule, but it's really easy to go away from, which means that it's a great destination for beginners, and it's often the first interplanetary thing you point to. Although I plan on making more videos about, I don't know, Lathe, or having a starship go to Lathe. That'd be a great project. I definitely do that, something like that. Anyway, here we are at Duna. Lander made it there. Once again, the little lander in there, I think I showed it in a preview before, is just made it a basic light lander that can land on Duna and get back. And once again, I'm using MechJeb for the landing here. This section was manual, but the actual landing itself was MechJeb. I'm just testing this out to see if it actually works. I still know how to manually land. Don't think I've forgotten how to manually land. I manually land pretty much all my boosters up until a couple of months ago. But here's the landing. Luckily, those parachutes kind of do help on Duna, although they're very worthless. And there's a beautiful shot of the landing. Very, very nice. The lander, of course, not the lander, the ladder on the lander extending, and out comes, of course, Jebediah Kerman, ready to set foot on Duna and plant the very iconic DSP Denshi Space Program flag right there, claiming the land as our own, or I guess in the name of Kerbin. Of course, we gotta make our way back up and, go back to where Jebediah Kerman came from. So now, obviously, ladder retracting, and off we go. This section is quite short, mostly because 90% of it was just really annoying, like fast forwards and maneuvers. Also, the music here is also by Mumor. I'll have the link to his channel, great music. Obviously, very responsible space program once again. If you saw over there, we were absolutely spamming that fast forward button, probably, killing Jebediah Kerman sitting in that capsule for so long. No idea how he's still alive. Although he does something very impressive at the end of the video. Obviously here doing the interplanetary transfer back to Kerbin, and there's Kerbin right there, burning through the atmosphere. Luckily, this tiny tin can survived, which is quite surprising, because I only added this tiny little heat shield. I was expecting to have to redo the whole mission at this point, but I guess that sacrifice for lightness is good. Here comes Jebediah Kerman, obviously, as you just saw him right there, coming out of the actual capsule with a big parachute. That's incredibly risky and dangerous, but of course he's Jebediah Kerman. He survives absolutely everything you throw at him, unless of course it's a fall above 20 feet or something. There he goes, Jebediah Kerman with his a little parachute glider thing, and the rest of the video is literally just him falling towards the ground. Very successful Duna mission, obviously. A surprisingly cheap way to get to Duna, because you don't throw the whole rocket away. Because obviously you reuse most of the money that you spent on the rocket, and then that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Goodbye.